Another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mice. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, EJ! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys.
They're
They're really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Caitlin.
So here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No,
Oh,
they
line's
like
good.
line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Rylan Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mice. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
and when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
it's a gold line.
it's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside a rockin' Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador for the third stop on the Grand Slam of Curling 2024-2025 season. This is the Coyote National, and it is moving night here. A playoff spot on the line between Michael Brunner and Mark Muskatewitz. John Cullen here with you once again, and pleased to be joined by my esteemed colleague, 2018 Olympic gold medalist, Tyler George. And Tyler, how can you not love this? A sold-out crowd, a playoff spot on the line. It's just a pleasure to be here, baby.
That's one of those odd situations, John, with our game where everything on the line for them, either a tiebreaker or a playoff spot for the winner, and loser is out with this raucous atmosphere. Everybody in the stands, for the most part, focused on the sheet next to them. So trying to keep focused on what you're doing, the task at hand. For those of us sitting up in the booth, we're just enjoying the moment. I mean, what an atmosphere here in St. John's. This is the stuff you dream about in the curling world. But as you said, everything at stake for the teams that we're calling for this evening's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, these teams coming in at 1-2, 2-2 does get you into minimum a tiebreaker, but if things break right, there may be no tiebreakers on the men's side. So the situation here is if Brad Guzhu can defeat Marco Husley and Mike McEwen can beat Reed Carruthers, then the winner of this game will go directly into the playoffs. And so, yeah, what a good opportunity for both of these teams. This would be the first qualification for both teams. This is Mark Muskatewitz's first slam ever, but for Michael Brunner, has played in a few slams, has never qualified. So a huge game for both teams, Tyler, and you know that the added pressure of the crowd may be not helping the fact that they're also playing for a playoff spot, but I think once they settle in here, it's going to be a great game.
Well, that's my mistake then, too. I guess there are 8 more Gushu fans on Sheet C, as they would like a win there to avoid a tiebreaker scenario for the winner. But, yeah, as you said, I mean, it's an amazing atmosphere for Team Brunner, trying to crack through to the playoffs the first time. And Team Muskatewitz playing in their first slam, but coming off of winning the European Championships just last week in a loaded field where 6 of the teams in the event were in the top 15 in the world, with Muskatewitz being one of them. Probably nobody's favorite pick for the event, but ends up beating Bruce Mao at no small feat in any tournament this year in the final to notch that European title.
Yeah, they've had a tremendous season. We were talking about it before the broadcast. If you count the European trials, the German European trials to qualify for the Euros, they have played in 8 tournaments this year, and 9 tournaments. They've qualified in 8, including that win at the Europeans. And yeah, they've had a slew of quarterfinal finishes. They also came second at the Stu Sells Oakville, which is a really loaded tournament, almost like a mini slam. They lost that final to Yannick Schwaller. They made the semifinal in Oslo. They're the world number 10. And Tyler, when you talk about up and coming, fast rising teams, I mean, before this season, I think if you told me we would be commentating a game of Mark Muskatewitz's at the 3rd slam of the year, I would have told you were crazy.
That they won the tier 2.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been the only other way, because, yeah, they were ranked in the high 20s coming into the season and have just put together a tremendous number of results here early on in the year. And it's really, you know, it's kind of a similar model that we see in Canada quite often. Mark Muskatewitz, a little more experienced. He's been in the men's game now for about 8 years. His teammates just coming out of juniors, his 3 teammates, Benny, Felix, and Johannes, all being in the World Juniors and winning the silver in 2022 and in 2023. They actually lost that 2022 World Junior final to James Craik, another team we've seen in the field here. So, yeah, they have those accomplishments. They're young. They kind of picked up the quote-unquote veteran, Mark Muskatewitz, who's only about 6 years older than them. But, yeah, it's been a really good mix for them so far.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
And that's some really nice touch there from Romano Keller-Meyer.
And back to your point, too, John, the season they're having, number 6 year-to-date on tour. That's a remarkable accomplishment with the depth of the international field right now. And that is what's gotten them into this slam. But, you know, some familiar last names, obviously, that you see out here, too. You recognize the name Cap, obviously, with Uli and Andy, Uli being Benny's father. Generational sport, as always. And those pedigrees, they run deep, John.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We know that's not just a Canadian thing, that that the curling pedigrees are quite high, and yeah, no question, that's German curling royalty for sure.
I've played against both Mark and Uli. Andy as well. Andy actually, yeah, his father, we played against in the 2010 World Championships in Cortina. And Mark, I believe we played against in the 2016 World Championships.
Yeah, he was there. That was his first one.
So my memory serves at least halfway decent. As long as I get the fathers and uncles right, then we're good. But yeah, this will be a fun one. These are two teams that have not hit their peak yet in the men's game. We've said that a bunch of times this week. There's a lot of fast-rising young teams in this slam field, and we still have a year and a half or so until the 2026 games. So all these teams that are rising up the standings are probably going to be better teams when we get to February of 2026. I can't wait for those games. That's going to be phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we will meet this team Muskatewitz, curling out of Füssen, Germany. The skip, of course, Mark Muskatewitz. The third, Benny Kapp. The second is Felix Messenziel. And the lead is Johannes Scheuel. I'm going to get my German pronunciations probably by the end of this event, or the end of this game, I guess, really.
Kapp getting that one to turn over a little bit, but still rolls off the paint.
And over on the other side of the sheet from Bern, Switzerland, it's Team Brunner. The skip is Michael Brunner. The third, Anthony Petou. The second, Romano Kellermeyer. And the lead, Andreas Gerlach. It is Muskatewitz starting with the hammer here. And he's currently lying one at the top of the button. Yeah, this is a battle between world number 10 and world number 13. Good results on the other side of the sheet for Brunner this year as well. They just came off a final in Collingwood last weekend. They lost to John Epping. You want to talk about another fast-rising team. I think we're going to see them in the slam in Guelph. John Epping teaming up with the Horgan brothers this season. Ian McMillan playing out of Northern Ontario, and they've had a really good start to their year. And yeah, they also made a couple semifinals in Stirling at the Euro Super Series and in Okotoks. And I think, one thing that I've heard from a lot of curlers about Team Brunner's game is they like to play aggressive. Michael likes to throw the hero shot, and so they can really put a ton of pressure on you. But as you know from maybe playing that way yourself and playing against teams like that, it's also a strategy that can cost you. If you're not super sharp and you don't have those hero shots in your back pocket, it can be a rough night.
It's a strategy that you might employ more against higher ranked teams when you feel like we're probably going to have to make a circus shot at some point to beat a team like this. But now they've reached a level where you really don't need to do that. So better to just let your execution take care of things and not play to be in that hero situation as much. But we're seeing some good simple shots made right now, and great angles created here by Team Muskatewitz with two yellows on great angles on the red stones in the house.
Yeah, and with the hammer as well. That was a nice first shot there from Benny Kapp.
Yeah, this is kind of how you draw it up with hammer, where you want these angles. So your opponent has to be the one to move these. Brunner's going to play a soft slash on their own red in the top of the forefoot.
Limit. Whoa. Straight, yep. Yes. High.
Nice shot there from Anthony Petou. He played very well last night against Team Schwaller. That was Brunner's first win of the event last night, starting 0-2. It's always difficult at a slam when you lose your first two to try to find your way into the playoffs, but they've given themselves a chance with that great game last night, and Petou was one of the keys to it. Had a very solid game. So it is now Brunner lying 1-2-4-5 here.
This is a good opportunity for Muskatewitz, though. You got to throw a little weight at this to roll away. But you can set up a two with a good double here. That number one counter is mostly buried underneath the center guard. What would be number one if this rolls away and they make the double.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Clean. Yep. Whoa, whoa. Clean. All right.
Just playing it soft, so they're trying to move both these around and sit right there. Good shot.
And indeed they do. Nice shot from Benny Cap. Muskatewitz lies 2.
Schöne Länge.
Wenn wir da sind, dass er dann nicht mehr Schott ist.
Ich wollte auf keinen Fall irgendwie noch davor.
Aber es spielt trotzdem das da.
Board. Wenn er so wegpickt, dann jumpt er immer darüber.
Yeah, weirdly enough for Muskatewitz, you talked about the Tier 2, and they were in it. They did lose the quarterfinal to Sam Moybrook, and they were one of the highest-ranked teams, if not the highest-ranked team at the time of the Tier 2. And I think a lot of people maybe thought they were going to make some noise there. Unfortunately, losing that quarterfinal, but then they've had such a good run since then. They picked up enough points to find themselves in a Tier 1 slam anyway. Of course, winning the Europeans doesn't hurt. That's a bundle of points. To your point, one of the stronger fields on earth at this point. And I think the thing, too, with Germany, Tyler, you probably know this throughout the years as well, as Michael Brunner's throwing his first here, that often Germany's been a nation that's had a good team, but it's a good team. They don't typically have the depth, but right now Sixten Totzek is also quite the player, and so there's no guarantee that for Muskatewitz they'll be at the Olympics. You know, they're going to have to win their way in. There's a few other good young German teams as well, so they're all pushing each other, and it's a great thing for the game. And that's a really nice hit and roll by Michael Brunner on that one.
Yeah, really big shot by Brunner to get the roll underneath. They're definitely looking at it too. And if they don't get the roll, there's a chance that Muskatewitz would. And then you're looking at a possible 3 if they're buried that well under the guard. So great shot. I think they can still dig it out with Hack. You just need to push the rock out of the 8-foot in order to sit 2. So still an opportunity to score multiple points here for the German squad. Really like to make these finesse shots early in the game to get the confidence going forward.
So first rock here for Mark Muskatewitz. Needs a gentle touch here in the first end.
Looks like this is just through the house weight. Maybe not quite Hack. So see how far the red goes. It just gets it out of the 4, so they are shot and 3rd. It's not a bad result.
Ja, ich wollte nur, dass wir mal nur einen sauber machen, ohne immer zu bearbeiten, weil jetzt gleich schon früh auf Curl nehmen, auf eine frische Spur. Super, ja? Ja, mega gut.
This is a little bit of a tricky setup here, John, for Brunner to deal with, as they can't do much with that stone that's biting the top of the 4-foot, and they don't have a great spot to draw to either. If you're going to wrap, you got to get really close to that yellow stone. And you probably need to play the in-turn doing it, too, because if you ever click with the out-turn, you're leaving a double for 3.
Yeah, would you ever throw the hit and roll here, maybe, off the yellow?
That's the first shot I would look at. Yeah. They've been eyeing up the draw the whole way, but they're thinking it's a tough roll, and you're kind of conceding a 2 if you don't make it perfect, but it's not much different playing the draw.
Well, and if you miss the draw, you're maybe conceding 3, whereas if you're hitting, you're never conceding 3. So, well, unless absolute disaster strikes. So, yeah, I kind of like the hit. I think in the first end, too, Tyler, you don't need to blow your brains out.
Yeah, this is the correct shot, I think. If you play the draw, you better be really confident in the line and the weight, because you have to make that to stay away from 3. You play this, 3 is gone, no matter what.
Obwohl wir schon, glaube ich, jetzt mehr als Backline hatten, weil wir haben vorne ein Drittel getroffen. Und dann doch dahinter geschoben, also es war schon ein gutes Eck eigentlich.
Last rock for Michael Brunner. First end and facing a little bit of pressure here. Needs to make a pretty precise hit and roll to avoid giving up 2.
It's going to get off the draw path right about here. See if it turns over.
Yeah, Gerlach's trying to bring this one over. Does he have any roll? No, he doesn't.
And we've seen that shot stay relatively straight throughout the week.
Yeah, just never really seemed like it had a chance there, and so it'll be a draw for 2 here for Mark Muskatewitz just needs a piece of the forefoot.
A really well-played end here from Muskatewitz's squad. We talked midway through the end about creating the angles for themselves, and that's what ends up giving you this opportunity late in the end for the 2.
So that cheer that you heard, you may have thought was for a Brad Gushue make, but it was in fact for a Philip Husley miss. As Brad, I do believe, has a draw for 3 here in the first end. So our 2 teams in this game will like to see that result go up on the board if it happens. And for Mark Muskatewitz, he'd like to see 2 go up on the board here. Final stone needs a piece of the 4. Welcome back, curling fans. Apologies if you lost your feed there right as Mark Muskatewitz was about to let that draw go. As you may be able to see from the scoreboard, he did indeed make it, just kind of nudged his rock in the top forefoot and nestled in for 2. So it is the Germans leading 2-0 here over the Swiss Germans in Michael Brunner. So we'll get our first look at Team Brunner with the hammer here, and this is something we have seen from them. Tyler, again, I talked about them being aggressive. Center guard up for Muskatewitz and corner guard going up here for Michael Brunner.
Music to a broadcaster's ears. Get those rocks in play and don't make us have to fill time telling stories about our old careers. You guys are tired of hearing about that by this point.
For sure.
But really high corner on that side, so I would not at all be surprised to see a second one stacked over there, or that corner is almost useless to go around. Unfortunately for Brunner, if they do choose to do that, they may be looking at either 2 under a center or 1 under with 2 guards by the time they're throwing their 3rd stone.
So draw around here for Johannes Schörl. And a nice shot, so the freeze back now for Andreas Gerlach.
Yeah, really good position, right to close to biting top 4. Good, fairly tight center.
Nothing at all here from Kellermeyer and Patou.
And great weight control there again. Nice freeze.
That's one thing you will notice from this Team Brunner as well, Tyler. Occasionally they will just throw in English out of nowhere. I don't know why, but certainly helps us up in the booth at times when we get just a little, oh yeah, carve it, they'll say that sometimes. Or
if I spoke multiple languages, I'd throw those in all the time just to show people I could.
No question about it.
The reason you don't hear us do that in the booth is because we can't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm semi-fluent in sign language, and unfortunately that doesn't help in this format.
I'm probably more fluent in Newfie now than I am just about anything else, which is probably my 2nd favorite language.
Yeah, it's definitely its own language. There's no doubt about that.
Honestly, I love the people here. This is my favorite place to go, probably in all of Canada for curling events. Just the combination of the atmosphere, the scenic areas, the kindness of the people, the quirkiness, and the way they show up, obviously, for the games, too. It's just such an amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, it's tremendous. We know the stories of Brad Gushue go far and wide here in St. John's, but he is a legitimate celebrity here. Like, can't even leave his house. I saw him earlier. He's staying in the hotel for this event because he, doesn't want to stay at home and have the distractions that come with work and being at home. Wants it to feel like a regular event. As Romano Kellermeyer would love for this to slow down, and it does. What a shot.
I like that, when teams or athletes accomplish something significant, often they get a small street in their hometown named after them. Brad's got a highway.
He's got a highway. Where's the Tyler George Highway in Duluth is what I'd like to know.
It's probably the little 2-house block between my house and the river. That's about it.
Yeah, but it was crazy to watch. So I was talking with their coach, Jeff Hoffert, just at the hotel. We were chatting a little bit there, and Brad all of a sudden comes down the elevator and Jeff's like, "Okay, gotta go," because he kind of runs security for Brad almost, walking over to the arena here. And Jeff was telling me that before Brad got there, and I've obviously heard the stories, but I witnessed it with my own eyes. It was genuinely bonkers. There were clearly people waiting in the hotel lobby who knew that he was going to be taking the pedway that goes from the hotel to the arena. And so it was like a literal convergence as he's like trying to walk to the arena. And I was like, oh, this is like, it's real.
I want to hear the word paparazzi in the Newfie dialect.
Paparazzi.
That's probably fairly close. That sounded half Chicago.
Yeah, it was a little American as well.
It was George Wendt saying it, I think. That's Norm from Cheers, let's be specific. He's trying to play the run here and move a bunch of granite angles. Need to be
don't want to touch
up.
your own, and they don't. Wow, what a shot from Romano Kellermeyer. Leaves one buried and lying two. That's tremendous. I guess maybe it's not buried. No, never mind. It's open, but still great shot from Romano Kellermeyer.
Yeah, great result, and now clears up the center besides, too. The double's very close to jamming on that back yellow stone. They could just play the roll over, and that would avoid the jam. It's close. The double may be there without it, but there's a chance it clips it.
So they're by the center now. Don't want to roll over top here, and unfortunately it will for Benny Cap. And so Team Brunner still lying one. Sorry, Tyler.
No, yeah, they have a tailor-made setup now for your two. You got two staggered corner guards that you're drawing under. Only thing you have to make sure of now is not to go deep so your opponent can follow. But you're going to have a really good setup to play for at least two in this end.
Yeah, that fantastic shot by Kellermeyer setting this one up. Need a good draw out of Patu here, though. Kellermeyer trying to bring this one over. And I think that will do.
That buries about half, but it is above the tee line, so not a bad shot.
Bisschen weniger aktiv als meine letzte, aber mehr mit der Sliding. Also Sliding ist schneller gewesen.
They must really not like the angle of playing that, as they think it may play into a jam, but I think you still need to chase number one.
Ja, schon gut. Ja, muss halt nur im Jam aufpassen. Ja, ja. Wenn wir so wollen? Ja.
Staggered guards are really creating a problem here for Muskatewitz.
Yeah, like you said, Tyler, feels like a setup of potentially at least two. Certainly a three is potentially on the table here.
Ich glaube, wir müssen schon, ein Drittel wird schon knapp.
Aber die Runner da ziemlich gut gemacht.
Weißt du?
Da wird halt sicher einer rausgehen, aber
okay.
Ich glaube, wenn wir den
wenn du den spielst, dann spielt er den Freeze drauf.
Ja, oder er spielt sogar so.
Ja, okay, aber der wäre gut. Dann legen wir einfach einen drauf.
Wie du meinst. Ich meine, wenn der kommt, ist er gut, aber...
Ja. Ich finde den Pitch nicht schlecht.
Hey. Schnell?
Können wir gleiche Länge spielen, dünn? Gleiche Länge.
Not a lot of familiarity between these two teams on the ice either, John. They've played against each other all of one time with their current iterations of their teams. Brunner took the victory at the Baden Masters 7-3.
Ich glaube, hier hängt's ein bisschen.
So they're chasing this one out in the wings here, Tyler, and I have to admit I'm maybe a little surprised by this.
Yeah, they really must think that that red stone is possibly jamming on yellow, or they just aren't comfortable with how much they can see.
So that was the shot called for Benny Kapp, but it is still Brunner lying one.
Yeah, I don't like the call either
there,
John, because this is what you get afterwards. They made that perfect, and now they can play the intern freeze on that stone in the outside 12, and you're in no better shape before than you were.
Ja, ich fand's in Richtung. Ja, jetzt muss erst auch mal spielen. Ja, und die Garde ist nie im Weg. Genau. Halbe 4.
You really don't have to make this that good to have at least 2 set up.
Yeah, just anywhere in front in second shot, I think, will get the job done for Anthony Patu. This is a little heavy, I think.
Yeah, you definitely want it to be above the yellow.
Okay.
That's
wow,
really
that really
good.
dug in. These houses have talked about it all week. They're a little, not sludgy is not the right word, but they're a little slow. The rocks can really die, especially on a newer path like that one, and that really came in there nicely for Patu. And now, yeah, this is starting to get a little bit dangerous.
And the guard is so high, they can still get there with hack, but you're almost assuredly conceding 2 chasing out here.
Auf Nase von 2 probieren. Dann haben wir gleich gehalten sein.
So huge shot here for Mark Muskatewitz, trying to get to the nose of this red one and move it past the yellow. That's not bad.
Yeah, good result. I'd be tempted to try to wrap something around the wide side now to play for 3. Looking at going around the same intern side. If you felt at all confident in the wide intern draw, if you came around the yellow in the corner guard, really good chance at setting up a 3.
And they've almost got 2 different ways of setting up 3 here. I think you could also just come around those staggered guards too if you whipped around everything. The only thing with that, I guess, is you'd maybe be a little deep and would give Muskatewitz an out, whereas I think, yeah, you're right, Tyler. If you could ever tuck a piece around this yellow, it's going to be really difficult for Muskatewitz to prevent a 3.
Yeah, they're playing the line they know with the intern going out to the wing away. And it's kind of a dare the other team shot, too. If they throw this to backside a tee or close to that where they're aiming for, there's a double. It may get close again to that jam, but you may be laying down the gauntlet for your opponent and saying it might be there, or are you going to risk giving up 3 to play it?
So first stone, Michael Brunner, just trying to tuck a piece around this yellow. It's around it now. Does it stop?
Oh yeah.
How about that, Tyler? My God, what a
Really good.
shot! That's fantastic. I mean, I think you can barely see it if you're Muskatewitz. I mean, wow, what touch!
Yeah, they don't really have the yellow stone to use either. You'd have to still play like a hack type of weight with how high that guard is. But
Yeah, there's a look at it there.
Double.
Yeah, there's a look at it there. That is, holy moly. Hachi machi.
Yeah, this is the daring shot again where it's very close to jamming on the yellow if you're going to get both. I think you might just miss to make the double. And they are having a go at it. A lot could happen here.
Yeah, no kidding. So last rock for Mark Muskatewitz here in end number 2, and there's a lot of danger here. Not an easy double at all. This would be quite the rescue shot if he can make it.
Yeah, don't need to overthrow it. It's good firm weight here.
Child trying to bring this over, and he just
actually caught it so
picks
thin it
out
went
the
over
red.
the top.
Yeah, they got very lucky there. That was not the call, but like you said, Tyler, hitting it just thin enough to go over the top.
Yeah, if he throws it a little bit better, he's giving up 3.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, one of those ends where I think for Muskatewitz, you're thrilled to only give up 2 here. You were looking at 3 for quite some time. So it will be a draw to the 8-foot here for Michael Brunner.
Der ganze Ring, der hängt schon ordentlich so. Linie gut.
Final stone just needs 8 foot to tie this game.
The sweepers like it. Just kind of a heavy clean going right now, and only need to touch 8 foot.
Yeah, that's no trouble there for Michael Brunner. Very well played end for the team from Bern. They will put 2 on the board and tie this game up. We'll be right back.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Eventuell.
2 very well played ends by both teams, but Michael Brunner pretty much perfect all 8 up and down in the second end. They put 2 on the board, and we are tied up at 2. Winner of this game moves into, at minimum, a tiebreak, possibly into the playoffs. Loser goes home, and it's looking positive for both these teams, Tyler, as Mike McEwen putting up a big 3 in the second end against Reed Carruthers. Marco Husley did get 2 back against Brad Gushue, but Gushue leading that one 3-2 with Hammer in 3. Carruthers down 3-0 in 3. We have all those games for you, and as well as those, we have Yannick Schwaller and Ross White available on Home Team Live for you. And if you're in Canada, the Gushue-Husley game is available on Sportsnet and Sportsnet Plus. And of course, the McEwen-Carruthers game is being called by our esteemed colleagues, Brent Lang, Ryan Fry. I'm hearing rumors John Morris may be getting on this very small couch that is behind them. They haven't yet got onto the couch yet, Tyler, so I don't know when that's coming, but it is there.
I gotta defend my colleague over here, Mr. Lang. They just put up the last shot of the Brier final that he lost to Gushue here in Newfoundland on the big screen. That's kind of cruel. I mean, they know he's here, so everybody knows what happened in that game. I mean, we don't need to advertise it once again. So sorry, Brent.
That's
just
tough.
mean.
Yeah. Something tells me he may have to see that shot every time he comes to Newfoundland for the rest of his life. At least once.
It's come up already this week.
Yes,
I can tell you that.
That's for sure. So back to our game here. Great freeze there from Andreas Gerlach.
Yeah, these teams very good with rock positioning so far in this game. Been impressed with the draw game.
Yeah, no, it's been a very, very well-played game by both teams. Muskatewitz in the first end got all their rocks in the right spots. to get there too. And of course, Brunner was looking good for 3 for a lot of that end. Muskatewitz was kind of lucky to not give up 3 there.
It's always interesting watching when a skip, and in this case we're talking about Muskatewitz, finds the right combination of players to play the type of game you want to play. Sometimes skip likes to call a game a certain way, but they don't have the right personnel. In the same way in any other sports, a coach might have a certain style, but they need the right players to be able to play that way. And the skip is the coach out on the ice. It seems as though Mark is calling a fairly aggressive game with a lot of drawing, a lot of good rock placement, but he has the bullets in the chamber to do it. And that makes such a huge difference in the confidence to play those types of shots.
Nice shot there from Craig Waddle, filling in for Duncan McFadgen this week for Team White, drawing the applause of the crowd as, again, some great rock placement here. Scheuer will put that one just tucked in behind those 2 rocks in the top house, and then a great follow down from Keller Meyer, who really did set up that last end as well.
Yeah, it's the polar opposite of what we saw in the first end, with now Muskatewitz looking at 2 Redstones cornered on zone. But yeah, this rock placement from both teams has just been phenomenal so far.
We'll see if Felix Messenziel's up to the task here. Trying to bring this one inside of it is Benny Kopp, and it just won't quite get there. Does get some separation, though.
Hat's verstoppt. Okay. Wir haben nicht viel gemacht. Alright. So, zurück wieder da, 2 Drittel.
And they think that that's lined up really well to shoot the red back onto the yellow. Not playing this with a lot of weight still, though. So pretty much just playing for the red to freeze on that yellow stone.
Gerlach trying to bring this one over. Looked like they were panicking that it needed to curl, but now Petu on it. And how about that? That is tasty. Keller Meyer absolutely en fuego thus far.
Raise from the skipper there.
Yeah, what a shot.
Always like seeing those.
Yeah, not only does he get the tap back, Tyler, but he gets that little inside roll, too, to make it almost impossible for Muskatewitz to get at it in one shot.
Yeah, and that's a shot that's really easy to say, throw normal. We'll have both of them go. But playing it soft, rolling over, now that red rock is stuck in there.
Yeah, tremendous shot making from Brunner so far. They seem up to the task tonight, that's for sure. Looking for their first ever slam qualification, or sorry, second ever. They did make the quarterfinal back at the 22 National, but it's been 2 years, so maybe the National just good to them, Tyler. They're feeling comfortable at the Coyote National here.
Sometimes that's a real thing. You feel like you have success at a certain event, even if it's just once.
Yep.
It's in the back of your mind.
Absolutely.
It doesn't hurt. I know Mr. Schuster today was telling me the same thing, that I think he's only played in now 3 events here in St. John's or in the immediate area and qualified in all 3.
Yeah.
So he felt that coming in. We made the semis here in the Tour Challenge back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Raucous atmosphere there, but the arena was about a quarter the size of this, if that.
Speaking of a raucous atmosphere, Felix Messenziel trying to get rid of more than one red, wasn't able to do it. And now if Anthony Petu can make this hit and roll, they are going to be set up very well. But yeah, I know you're right, Tyler. Even for me in my limited curling career, I believe I won 7 World Curling Tour titles over the course of my career. And of those 7, 4 of them were 2 wins at 2 different tournaments. So yeah, you feel good. You win a tournament once and you feel like, okay, we know we can do this, right? Sometimes it's just that knowledge of knowing you can do it that really helps your game. Don't want to overroll here, and how about that? Oh my goodness, TG.
Yeah, we're seeing some high-level rock placement here from Brunner right now.
My heart is pounding. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, you've had a lot of caffeine today.
No, none. I don't even drink caffeine. I'm just blasting. I'm drinking seltzer, dude.
I was giving you an out.
I don't want one. I don't want one. Put me in the hospital, baby.
He's high on St. John's and on curling, folks.
That's right. I'm just high on good curling shots. That's it. I don't need anything else. So this is a really big shot all of a sudden for Benny Cap, trying to run this center guard in. And if you ever drive this by, you could get yourself in even more trouble. Let's see what they got here. It's back, and just gets that red one off the forefoot. I think it's, or sorry, off the button. I think that's better. It's a lonely lemon in there, though, TG.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good opportunity for Brunner to go in again right now. Right to the top of the lid. They don't quite have all of that stone in the top of the 12-foot. So they can't play weight at that if you did come around it. So great opportunity. Big shot here.
Yeah, I talked about how good Anthony Patou was last night. He's been just as good here tonight, if not better. We'll see if he's got another one here in his locker. Kellermeyer with his trademark long strokes on the brush.
There's plenty of room.
Yeah, they're by now. Can they get it in there? You don't want to be heavy. That's maybe the first slight blink we've seen from Team Brunner in this end, Tyler.
Yeah, a little panic on the sweep. I thought they saw a little move, but just kind of glided on that path. So now Muskatewitz will be able to follow. They don't sweep that at all. They're probably 2/3 buried at least.
Yeah,
it's probably 2/3 buried already. So it might have been completely buried.
Well, yeah, and it's just the fact that it's also a little bit behind the tee line does give Benny Cap a bit of room here. Benny Cap, also a world mixed finalist, won the silver back in 2019, actually lost to Canada in that final. Kyle Kurz. Scheil trying to bring this over. And I don't think that would have been the desired result.
Yeah, that's trouble now. They can get inside with back ring weight, tap that to the back of the 8-foot, sit 3. John, they're not really getting a big finish on that line right now, though. Both skips, I think, were a little surprised at how straight that ran in the last quarter of the sheet.
Well, I think in both cases, too, Tyler, just maybe that little bit of extra weight. You know, we have seen if the rock is a little bit lighter, it might grab a little more in the house. And I think for both of those shots, they were a little more like back 8, back 4, back 8, as opposed to tee line.
Well, I think they were expecting it to cut, which would take the weight off of it, because it was thrown, I think, close to what they were looking at for time.
Yeah.
So if it's not finishing, you know, we're seeing that with like back 12, back line, where it's not cutting as much. But I mean, back 4 should still turn over pretty good. And both teams thought that that would get closer to the rock in the top of the 12-foot.
So another great chance here for Michael Brunner with his first. As you can imagine what just happened in this building. Romano Kellermeyer trying to get this one by the top one. This one is curling. Now Andreas Gerlach trying to bring it over. Can he get inside it?
It's not a bad result.
Yeah, not bad. I think is Muskatewitz shot, though. Tough to tell from our overhead. I don't know.
Some tap the red stone. I think red might be 1, but it's very close. I'd be very surprised if something didn't move before this end is over.
Yeah, again, with those rocks on that side not curling, Tyler, this does allow the freeze the other way, but they haven't really seen this path all end.
Yeah, it'd be interesting now if this runs the same as the opposite side or if it curls more like what we've seen throughout the week. This cuts, and they're expecting it to. You see the broom is over halfway out in the 12-foot.
Yeah, there's certainly some open real estate here for Mark Muskatewitz. His first here in the third.
And weight's all there.
Yeah, haven't been much here from Johannes and Felix. And how about that?
That'll do.
Right on the lid, right on top of the red. And Muskatewitz, I think now is lying 2 for sure. He did touch that red a little bit. So it was an end that looked really great for Michael Brunner most of the way here, Tyler, but maybe in a bit of danger here.
You're just trying to decide what weight you want to play to tap this red up, because you're giving one almost assuredly. They could follow with the same outturn freeze too. So if you're looking at this side, then it's maybe playing it with weight and trying to spill them both. But then how many of your reds go
yeah,
if you play weight at that line? I'd be awfully tempted just to follow, but there might be a slash then with the red to lose both and still get at least a 2.
Wenn das Sub draufliegen würde, wird er gar nichts mehr. Heck? Ein bisschen mehr Druck, dass man Shot wäre. Die Frage halt, was passiert mit tendenziell mehr als. Weißt du, ich fühle mich schneller fast sicherer. Ja. Ein Drittel eines Büll ist recht close. Drittel bis Viertel. Ja.
So it does look like they are going to try the bomb here, Tyler.
I think they're worried that if they play the outturn freeze following that yellow stone, that you could play the red in with weight and lose both, because you're probably only going to be cornered on the yellow. So the red in the top 4s, Muskatewitz could hammer and lose both and maybe get as many as 3. So they're just going to play hit weight, see if they can get action on that second yellow that shot rock. They know that the first one will go, that's in the side of the 4-foot. The question is, are they going to get enough action on the second one? If you hit this with weight into the pocket, they should both go.
Well, Brunner can throw a bullet. There's no question about that. And we're going to see one here. Final stone.
Now the question again will be how many of those reds go along with it.
Romano Keller-Meyer on this out of the hand. Is he flirting with the top one? No. Does he get both yellows? Yes, he does. Wow. What a shot from Michael Brunner.
Losing the back one, too.
Unbelievable. Let's take another look at that. Keller-Meyer on it right out of the hand.
They had to hit that so good to not lose the bread in the back of the 4-foot, too. But
right in the crotch. Perfect shot.
That's good.
And this is no easy one here either, Tyler.
Yeah, this is the same draw that he just threw, so that's the good part. The bad part is you need to get around a stone that's half in the top of the button. Try to get shot rock. Really, really difficult draw here. As long as you get half of the 4-foot, you're only giving 1.
Final stone, Mark Muskatewitz needs a piece of the button for 1. He did just throw this path, but there is not a lot of room here. Scheuel on it now. It's close. It's close. Is it there?
Just kind of died on him at the end, but that's still close.
Still close. Looks like maybe red from our angle, but they'll take a peek at it here. I mean, great attempt regardless for Mark Muskatewitz. Benny Cap taking a look at it here. We might need to put a stick on this one. So they are calling for the measure here. Really good shot from Mark Muskatewitz.
Yeah, can't do it much better. Just needed maybe 1 or 2 more licks of sweep, and it's definitely made. So what's your call, John? I think I'm going red.
Yeah, I think it's red too. It felt like even for Benny, he was kind of indicating, well, it's probably red, but we'll put a stick on it anyway. So I guess we'll see.
Ich check es gar nicht. Du kannst einfach fest auf 0, fest bis zum Stein ran, fest an den Stein einmal ran. 20 Umdrehungen im Umschlag, oder? Okay, das trainieren wir einmal.
It's like they signaled red. Yep.
Indeed. So it
3-0 this week for the kid.
Very nice. It will be a score of 1, a steal of 1 for Michael Brunner after that fantastic shot. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
Okay. Gut. Wunderbar. Ist nichts passiert, viele Bücher? Ja? Wieso sind alle Leute so frische Werbung und aber die hat schon.
Well, it was a really great end from Michael Brunner. They probably deserved the steal, but they had to work pretty hard to get it. Michael Brunner making an absolute 10-beller on his last shot to set up the steal, and so it is a 3-2 lead for the team from Bern. And they'll get us kicked off here in the 4th end. Some quick score updates for you from around the rings here. Reed Carruthers only could manage 1 back against Mike McEwen in the 3rd end. McEwen leading that one 3-1. They have the hammer in the 4th. That game also being carried on Home Team Network with Brent Lang and Ryan Fry on the call. Beside them is the Sportsnet feature sheet. Brad Gushue had a very weird shot for 2, and it kind of spun back into the 4-foot. Only managed to get 1, and so they lead Marco Husley 4-2. And Ross White had a shot for 2 in the 3rd, couldn't pull it off, settled for 1. He's tied 1-1 with Yannick Schwaller. That game is the most technically meaningless one out here this evening, as White at 3-0 is already into the playoffs, and Yannick Schwaller at 0-3 is already out. Of course, as we know, though, the teams are playing. They get money per win, $4,000 for a win out here. So for Yannick Schwaller, that can cover a few flights, even if you won't be in the playoffs. So they'd love to get that last win, even if they know they're out.
We're going to buy some crutches for Yannick, though,
before
we get the flights. He's not getting on any planes anytime soon.
That's a good point. At least he can get on early. They could put him in a wheelchair and get the priority boarding.
Yeah, we wish Yannick well. Meniscus, I believe, is what we heard.
Yeah, recovering from a knee surgery.
Yeah, I've said many times he's my favorite interview in curling. Always well-spoken and well thought out with his responses. So, good guy. Wish you well, Yannick. Get better soon.
I like how many favorite interviews in curling you have. I feel like you're buttering up all. He's my favorite interview in curling.
Well, I don't figure that everybody listens to every game I do, so it's hard to catch me on that.
Just me.
But Yannick's number one. There's no question.
Oh, yeah, no, he's great. Great player, great guy. His team up with Benoit Schwarz van Berkel has been working out very well for both of them as they are up to world number 2 in the rankings, although they will probably lose that spot as Brad Gushue is looking like he may be in the playoffs here. He's in a tiebreaker at the very minimum. So in our game, this looks like a very familiar setup here, Tyler, although the only misstep a little bit, it was for Johannes Schürrle, as he just came a little bit deep on that draw around the corner guard.
Yeah, and the rock at the top of the 12-foot, not totally useful either for Brunner. So they're going to come around that this time, too. Love to get this right to the tee line on this line.
Keep going, keep going. Nice.
Really well done there, right to the top of the button.
Yeah, this is just tremendous curling for Team Brunner so far. Really up and down the lineup. Romano Keller-Meyer in particular has had a fantastic game, and it's not just draws like that one that he just made. We've also seen a few really good hits. That run back that he made to set up the deuce in the second end was phenomenal as well. So, yeah, been a very, very strong game for Keller-Meyer thus far.
We've seen quite a bit more curl on this side, too. That finishes up nice. Perfectly done again. Great rock placement.
Nice freeze made there by Felix Messenziel. And we're going to see a run back here, I believe.
Love to make this in a roll center. Doesn't get the
Yeah, it does roll center, but unfortunately doesn't get the yellow one in the house.
Yeah, the good side is stacking up a bunch of guards. Actually overruled a little bit, so that yellow is still accessible.
Oder nochmal hier die 3. Nein. Ich weiß noch nicht, ob dann einfach die Guard spielt.
Yeah, the question is if you're just going to lock another on now and make them guard for their lives, or are you going to play this now? I think I'd be tempted to move it right now anyways. I know it's early, but just with the pile of stones up there. Yeah, they're throwing actually to a guard now, too.
Just delay the end by a shot?
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, you're really putting your opponent on it, that you're saying if you want to guard against the 3 or 4, go for it, but
Hard. String on 3. Hard curl. Hard.
I don't know.
No stick.
Well, that's a really good sweep there from Schürrle. Because that did not look like it was going to guard much of that yellow when it got over the hog line.
I mean, they're going to hit the corner again now. Thought they'd just freeze on that yellow in the top of the 4-foot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they are shot, right, Tyler? That's maybe what they're thinking. It's working in their advantage a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have hammer. So, I mean, leaving that combo the way it's set up in the top of the 4-foot, I mean, I'm already a little surprised that Muskatewitz didn't play either the pack waiter or the freeze.
Well,
to
I
that
agree,
spot.
because now even, Patu again misses the run back, but he's now staggered these guards, and I don't know that there's an easy path in for Muskatewitz unless this somehow, yeah.
I just never liked the not playing something to that
I agree.
center line on Muskatewitz's last.
Yeah, and technically Patu makes a half shot, really. And it ends up working out pretty good for them in terms of protecting that shot stone. So, yeah, we'll see if Benny Kopp can get some granite moving here.
Not going to need to move a whole bunch of guards. Try to open this up. And pretty good result. A couple Reds go in the house.
Yeah, spills a few rubies in there.
But yeah, the main thing, John, with that decision to not play something to the center, whether it was the freeze or the soft weight hit, is if your opponent makes one good shot, now you're the one chasing. And you could have had them either protecting against the 3 or 4, or you could have been sitting 3. And they allowed Brunner to guard that up in a much safer situation than they would have if they would have played something to the center before that. But it's all about who's dictating the action, and you kind of gave it over to your opponent by throwing that corner guard. I think they just kind of outsmarted themselves a little bit.
Michael Brunner does seem pretty obsessed with getting rid of this Yellowstone in the 8-foot. Calling for the open hit now. I guess I don't know. What do you think, Tyler? I don't hate it, as we say in curling.
Yeah, where's the hat?
Yeah,
from the shop. You can get that at where, John?
TheRockShop.net. Or if you're in the St. John's area this weekend, the Rock Shop open during all draws here at the Coyote National, the Mary Brown Center.
Make sure you got that right. TheRockShop.net.
.net.
Not com.
Yeah, it's on the internet. It's a good way to remember. But yeah, lots of great gear. I'm hearing a rumor that the Brad Goo shoes have been so popular that they are going to be available online. So
look at that.
If you saw those posts and you thought, geez, I'm not going to be in St. John's, but I'd love to snag a pair of those, well, you are in luck.
They're very comfy. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Got a pair on right now.
So they do just peel out that yellow stone, and it is 3 reds to 1 yellow in the rings right now, but obviously the angle pretty good for Muskatewitz at the moment. And over on the couch sheet, where I think they are getting ready to get on the couch after their 4th end break, Mike McEwen scoring another 3 in the 4th end, so 6-1. Mike McEwen leads. The couch may be short-lived tonight, I feel like.
That's like Après Curl North over here to our left.
Yes.
Now, Ryan Fry, Brent Lang, John Morris, and the czar himself, Nick Sulsky, all crammed into that little broadcast booth. The couch has got no chance. It's maybe room for 2.
Yeah, it's a very small couch we have here. I mean, we've always had a small couch, but we've usually had room for 3, a tight 3 on the couch. So second stone here for Benny Kopp, trying to get some separation on those yellows, and that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, really good angles here for Muskatewitz again.
In the other game that these two teams are paying attention to, Marco Husley gets 2 back in the 4th end, so that game is now tied 4-4, Marco Husley and Brad Gujou. Again, we have Mike McEwen likely going to win that game against Reed Carruthers. So if Brad Gujou can defeat Marco Husley, that will mean the winner of our game goes directly into the playoffs tomorrow. Men's playoffs will be at 4 p.m. local time tomorrow. That's 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Women's quarterfinals will be before that at noon local.
It bears repeating too, John. 10 of the 16 teams in this men's field are European. Don't think we've ever seen that number in a slam before. I can't confirm that, but that's one I feel like I'm pretty confident in saying is a record.
Yeah, I would think so for sure, yep. So nice little run back there from Michael Brunner. They are now lying 2. As the Gujou girls in the crowd getting the wave started, and it's unfortunate for our game because they're the only game that is still happening. All the other games were in the 4th end break.
Mike McEwen joining in on the wave from the house.
They're just getting back underway. That game available on the Home Team Network, Mike McEwen and Reed Carruthers. Of course, we will be with you all weekend long as well if you're outside of Canada. Or even if you're inside of Canada, don't have Sportsnet, or there's a game you want to watch that's not being covered on Sportsnet, you can join us on the Home Team Network all weekend long, as Mark Muskatewitz is going to chase shot stone here with his first.
I think he almost wants to nose here. You don't want to roll behind and leave the double. Yeah, that's good. The roll a little wide is perfect. No roll in now.
Yeah, going to be tough for Michael Brunner to prevent giving up 2 here, I think, Tyler.
Now, there's no double that doesn't catch your own red, but they might still both go anyway, so you might just have to play the double, lose your red, and you still sit 2.
Yeah, I guess the danger in playing that is if you ever jammed it, you can give up 3.
You just have to not be too thin. I'm pretty sure that the yellow should spill as long as you hit the right shot to make the double. You can just play the roll too. I think what they'll probably settle on, John, is maybe control weight and try to roll wide so that any double they play back would jam. Yeah, they're going to play it with weight, so got Broom on the middle of the stone.
Yeah. Well, they were also talking about just like a hit and roll on top of their own.
Well, that's what I was figuring they were going to play, but this Broom was really tight.
It is weird. I agree. But it also seems maybe too much for the double. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they just think they have to hit the double this way to spin the Yellowstone out of the rings. But let's see. Final stone here for Michael Brunner. He's not throwing a ton of weight here.
Needs to curl a little bit. It's nose right now.
Yeah, so I guess he was just playing a straight hit and roll, Tyler. It looked like. Try to get maybe a little bit behind the guard.
I'm surprised they played as much weight as they did at that shot. You know, if you're trying to play the roll, throw something you can control the weight a little bit, and you're really taking the sweepers out of it playing that much weight. And the roll is really tough when you play that type of weight, too.
For sure, and it's this, this I think is, for Team Brunner, they're maybe going to feel a little hard done by. If Mark Muskatewitz makes this open hit, they're going to be going into the break up 1, and does feel like Team Brunner has had the better of the play so far.
Should know this line. Just playing probably board.
So final stone, Mark Muskatewitz just needs a hit and stick for 2.
Plenty of weight, plenty of line. No problem at all. Right
so a great shot for the German skip. 2 will go on the board, and they will take a 4-3 lead into the break. We'll take 3 minutes, and we'll be back.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
This is the Cornwall Curling Club. It's my home club. I started curling here when I was 7 years old. I decided to stick with curling because I really enjoyed the small team environment. I curled with the same girls from the time I was 9, basically until the end of juniors. So getting to form those friendships with my teammates was really special to me. I started curling because of my grandparents, and both my parents curled and my brother, so it was just like a whole family thing. And when you walk into the curling club in Truro, Nova Scotia, and everyone greets you, and it's such a warm environment, and it's fun. After school, we'd go, and all of our friends would be there, so it was just like such a fun environment. And I got to curl with some of my closest friends growing up, so it really helped me keep in the game, and we all had the same goals.
I know what curling has done for our family, the opportunities it provided for both my girls. Nationally, we've got to see travel the world. It's just a great sport. It's a small community. People, at all levels, everybody knows each other. It's kind of a unique sport that way.
It's a sport that enables him to build his confidence and to make friends while doing something that he really enjoys.
Right now at the age that they're at, it's just awesome to see when they come here and they see their friends at the curling club and the stuff they do off the ice too, and smiles and hanging out and just enjoying their time with friends.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside a sold-out Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador for the Coyote National, the third stop on the Grand Slam of Curling calendar. It's do or die for Mark Muskatewitz and Michael Brunner. Winner moves on to the playoffs. Loser goes home. John Cullen alongside Tyler George. And Tyler, we were just talking in the break, and I think sometimes people think that maybe the commentators get overexcited or overhyped, but this has really been a tremendous game of curling so far through the first half.
It's every bit as much about the style and the rock placement as it is about the execution. And both of these teams are not afraid to mix it up and go chess match with it, and placing pieces all over the board and doing it really well. But sometimes with the elite teams, the execution is so good that it's guard, come around, freeze, and then run. And then things are opened up again, and then it's trading hits for the blank. And neither of these teams have any interest in doing that whatsoever. This is all draws, bumps, angles. It's the kind of game you like calling in the booth because you get to do the next level analysis, and there's not a whole lot interesting about saying in-turn, hit and stick, done, out-turn, hit and stick, done,
Totally. Well, and it's also the execution, too, right? It's not just the willingness for both teams to play aggressive and keep rocks in play, but they're making the shots. And, of course, as we say this, the game is about to slow down.
Well, in fairness, it's the fifth coming out of the break, so it's a 0 or 2 end for Brunner. They'll play this relatively conservative and take the 2 if it's there, but they'd be very happy to blank and go on to the next end. That touches the guard, but doesn't move it off the center line.
Yeah, so it is Muskatewitz lying 1 here without the hammer early on.
Schürrle with slight error there. Oops, excuse me.
Scheuer. Scheuerl. Well, we're going to get there, you and I think.
Yep.
So Felix Messenziel. Trying to play a little tap here.
A nice tap and roll, good position again. Really good shot, John, to set up either the force or the steal from Muskatewitz.
Yeah, we're going to see the run back here for Romano Keller-Meyer. Does seem like Brunner would love to potentially blank here, Tyler. I think you could, if you needed to score, you might see a hit and roll underneath those center guards, but trying to get these yellows moving to maybe set up a blank. Keller-Meyer's been really good on these run backs, but of course, as I say that, he drives it by.
And this is exactly what Muskatewitz would hope for at the start of this end. Now they can continue to guard and play for the force. The steal presents itself, you take it, but they'd be really happy to give Brunner 1 this end, take hammer tied up to the 6. Then you have your 3 end game where you have hammer twice.
So guard going back up here.
Clean, clean. Vielleicht noch ein bisschen curlen. Jetzt finish, Benny. Yep, hard. Good.
Well done again. Good mid-tight guard right on the O of the Coyote logo.
And we'll see the run back again for Kellermeyer.
You need to make one of these to get yourself out of this.
And they won't make that one either.
Pretty much exact same throw there, too, from Kellermeyer.
Yeah, never really gave it a chance on either one, unfortunately.
Muskatewitz would be happy to just continue to replace these guards the entire end, too.
Yeah, like you said, they'd love a force here to be able to be tied up with the hammer. Playing 6 is a great spot to be for the reigning European champions.
It cannot be overstated, that accomplishment for Muskatewitz, too. An accomplished team going into the Europeans, but winning the championship in a field with your 7-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist from Sweden, your reigning world champions and undefeated slam 2-time champions from this season in Mowat, the number 2 ranked team in the world in Schwaller.
Yeah, just a great field, beating Mowat in that final 2, and Mowat's been so good this year. They've won 4 times on tour. They were undefeated in the slams before this week when they lost to John Schuster in dramatic fashion. So the run back again for Anthony Patu, and unfortunately, leaves that redstone up and does not get rid of that back yellow. And now, if you're Mark Muskatewitz, forget the force. This might be a steal situation.
Don't want to disrespect the Italian squad as well with their coach in the booth there. Joel Ritorna is in that field.
Yeah, no, it was really good, and it was Germany's first European title in over 20 years. They've never won the World Championships and have been shut out of Olympic medals. So
and the Norwegians, it was the first medal for their country in the Europeans in 9 years as well, since God rest his soul, Marcus Ulsrud's squad, or Thomas Ulsrud's squad.
Yeah, Magnus Ramsfjell.
I'm looking at names in the book as I'm saying names that I absolutely know.
Yeah, that happens.
We're getting a little loopy at the end of the night here after 5 days of it.
Don't want that to go too deep if you're Benny Cap. That's
pretty good.
Pretty good, yep. Might have some access.
Yeah, if it stops 6 inches higher, it's really good. But there is a pocket there to lose both. And you can actually come back up off shot rock and bury above the tee line if this is made perfectly. So they're going to throw this. Doesn't need to be a bomb, but probably firm to easy peel. Both should go. And if you hit it just right, the shooter will come back up, buried underneath.
Kellermeyer trying to bring this one over for Anthony Patu. They've got 1, they've got 2, and they've got the spin. What
just
a shot.
Like that.
Patu, we've talked about his shot making all game, makes another one there. A brilliant roll up and behind the center guards. And out of nowhere, Michael Brunner lies 1.
Yeah, you could not make that better than they did. It's peeking out just a touch, but in order to get that kick back up above the tee line, it probably had to spin out that direction a little bit. You make the trade to show a sliver to not leave it backside of tee.
Big shot here for Mark Muskatewitz.
I think they maybe have a third here.
Nothing yet from Johannes and Felix. And here comes Scheuerl now, right now. Right now. Do they move it far enough? Yes, they do. Tremendous touch from Mark Muskatewitz. Could really not see much of that stone from the hack, Tyler, and that is perfect precision.
It looked like just for a second they might have bruised it. They got by pretty easily, but does get enough to move it out of the 8 foot, and that's really all they needed to do with where the other yellow counters were. So sitting 3, that red rock will not come into play.
So I thought we might see the hit and roll here, Tyler, but looks like Michael Brunner just opting for the straight draw around everything here with his first in the 5th.
Yeah, if they made the hit and roll, it's probably backside of tee, and that leaves the freeze to a spot you absolutely can't get the wrong out. So the draw is the better result if you can make it, but this is
you gotta
really
get
gotta
by.
go.
Yeah, Gerlach leaning on it. They are by. Now, does it stop in time? How about that?
Oh, that really got the slide path.
Yeah, no kidding. Can you see
Punched
any of the
up.
Coyote logo from up here? Because I can't. That's pretty much perfectly on the lid from Michael Brunner.
Yeah, they can come off their own if they throw a Hummer and move that probably out of the 8 foot. They can also freeze, probably force to 1, which if you would have said at the beginning of the end, we get the force, they're happy.
100%. Well, and I think, too, Tyler's, you don't have to be necessarily dead frozen.
Yeah.
Even if you get in the top 4, you really shrink the scoring area for Michael Brunner. So,
yeah, and if
I like
you do
this call.
make the freeze, I don't think there's a shot for 2.
No, I wouldn't think so either.
So it's the right call. Yeah, you could throw a bomb and move that off the button, but you're probably still giving them 1 anyways.
Last rock for Mark Muskatewitz here. Trying to make a freeze to force Brunner to a single.
Plenty of line right now. Boy, that
really
hit the
trying
brakes.
to drag this, yeah.
Wow.
Scheuerl and Messenzeil trying to get this there. Can they get it there? They're by the top. Wow, what a shot from Mark Muskatewitz. What a sweep as well from Felix and Johannes. I do think there is room for a second point here, though, Tyler.
Well, there's 2 shots, actually 3 shots. You can out-turn draw, click off the yellow, spill in. You can just make the clean draw as long as you don't bounce off the red too much. Or you could hit and roll off of the yellow on the side of the 4 foot because there's more of the button on that back side, John.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, too, you just saw Romano Keller-Meyer gesture that you might even be able to catch the back of that yellow on the way in from the hit and roll and just shade.
Yeah, I don't think that you play it to catch the back of the yellow because to do that, you'd have to play weight. And if you do that and catch it too thin, there's a chance you could actually give up a steal. So I think you just throw like normal and try to hit 3/4, and you probably get 2. I like that more than the draw, I think, just because you have more of the button to use. And you have a little margin for error with how far you'd move your number 1 if you use it as a stopper. And it looks like Brunner agrees. Big point here. Yeah, they're actually playing it even softer than that with this broom that looks like maybe bored.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a ton of weight here, almost like they're just trying to kind of smudge and roll in. And so we do have our first final out here as well. Mike McEwen picking up 2 in the 5th end to beat Reed Carruthers 8-1. And so that means Mike McEwen will move on to the playoffs with a 4-0 record. Reed Carruthers falls to 1-3 and out of the playoff picture. And Michael Brunner now preparing to throw his last. As you said, Tyler, maybe just a little control board weight sort of hit and roll off for 2. It's delicate.
Yeah, this is maybe hack at most.
Yeah, even less weight than we were thinking.
Yeah, they're just playing a chip and roll in.
Romano Kellermeyer trying to... Yeah, you need a thick piece here. Does it stop in time? Oh, I don't think so. Really good try from Michael Brunner, but it just over curls at the end. And so they will settle for 1. Mark Muskatewitz will have the hammer when we come back.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable. And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
Ja, gut wirst du in der letzten... Ha? Okay. Ja. Nee. Was hat er probiert? Mit dem Roll mit Heck. Er hat sich ja nur nicht traut, schneller zu spielen, dass er sie nicht selber rausschießen kann. Aber mit Heck ist halt ziemlich schwer. Ja, ich weiß nicht, ob mit Heck da gewesen wäre.
So really the first end that we've seen Michael Brunner chasing for any extended period of time, but did still have a shot for 2, unfortunately does not come off for him. And so the German squad will have the hammer here in a tie game in end number 6. Winner moves on to the playoffs. Loser goes home. And we did say that Mike McEwen winners out here. So things looking quite positive for these teams getting directly into the playoffs. Brad Gushue and Marco Husley, though, are having a very tight match over on sheet B. 5-4, Gushue leads. Husley with the hammer playing the 6th. So something to keep an eye on there. But as we said off the top of the show, if McEwen and Gushue win, then the winner of our game will go directly to tomorrow's quarterfinals.
Very high center to start the end off from Brunner as well. So Muskatewitz going to the corner guard. No fear of that center.
Well, we've seen that every end too, Tyler, right? It's been awesome from both teams. Just seeing a center, seeing a corner. It's been really good. And over on the game right in front of us, a steal of 2 for Yannick Schwaller. And so it's 5-1. Schwaller leading Ross White. Again, that game doesn't mean much in the standings. Schwaller already out, White already in, but may affect the playoff seeding for tomorrow if White does not go 4-0.
Maybe that's the next thing to try out at the Slams, John, is for the first 4 shots of the end, you can't throw anything in the house. But you have to throw them in play. You can't toss them through.
Right.
Or first 2 at least.
Yeah. Okay. I'm listening.
Oh, sorry, that's in the house. That goes out of play.
Oh, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Be fun to watch. I know that.
Yeah. Lead would get even more boring to play somehow. And I say that as a lifelong lead who did love playing the position, but so the second center goes up, and it's really well made by Andreas Gerlach, and so this is a familiar start here in this game. 2 centers up, and we're going to see Scheuel draw around everything here.
Yeah, this is one of those shots, John, that kind of decides who's dictating the end, too. If you can make this, your opponent is chasing, and that's perfect position to the top of the 8-foot.
Freeze attempt here for Romano Kellermeyer. This is one of the benefits we've sort of learned. This is really curling for Kellermeyer. Unfortunately, that's going to
I don't know if that picked or
I'm
what,
not sure.
but
Yeah,
that
it really dove because
took a weird
it wasn't
turn.
like Gerlach was really slamming it. But this is one of the benefits we've learned about how you kind of only need one sweeper. You can take an extended break. Anthony Patou missing the first 3 rocks of this end.
Well, no, that ended up like 8 feet short, so obviously they needed the second
True,
sweeper, right?
true. Yeah,
Then
it's
they
all
would have
his,
got it there.
It's all his fault. I just came from the old, the old days where if you had to pee, you were sprinting off the ice and sprinting back to try to make sure you didn't miss a single shot. And now it's like, oh, whatever, you guys handle it. I'll be back in a few. So a team talk here for Muskatewitz. I guess Tyler just deciding how aggressive they want to get here.
Yeah, you have the staggered centers right now. I think you have to go under. If you tap a little bit, it's fine. You don't have to get that close to the guard in order to get to nose.
Ich fände es halt super, wenn die Mitte ein bisschen offen wäre, wir zur Corner laufen.
I think you absolutely have to go under center here and tap that up.
So just, I'm actually looking at the scoreboard in the building here, and Brunner and Muskatewitz have the 2 lowest last stone draw totals. So if Husley were to win, then the winner of our game would for sure be in a tiebreaker. So certainly both of those teams would prefer that Brad Gouju win that game, and then they don't have to worry about it.
Man, they're running the center here. I don't get this call at all.
I'm a little surprised, because the strategy sort of dictates, Tyler, does it not, that you want to score in this end?
Well, yeah, and
that's a bad result, by the way.
Really good position under the centers too.
Yeah.
There's no reason to play that. Like, I could kind of understand it, even if the high one wasn't there, and I still wouldn't agree with it. But it's worse yet, running it when you have a high one, 2 staggered, you're behind it in perfect position. You can attack, throw underneath, and you're looking at a 2 or a 3. And as you said, John, this is the 6th. You want to score 2
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
You're not playing to blank this end.
Yeah, to me, I think if it's the 7th end, then maybe you would see a team in that situation chase the triple peel. But
yeah, that one.
Yeah, usually in the 6th, it's not something you would see. I agree.
I'm as baffled by that call as I've seen anything this week. I got to be honest.
I guess you didn't watch the Xenia Schwaller NG Gim game then.
From what you said, yes.
No, you're right, though, especially with, we have been talking about, how good the strategy has been for both these teams, how aggressive the strategy has been. It's one of those calls where it is a little bit confusing, where we think of these teams as really being on top of it. But yeah, definitely. And again, it's not like it's a horrendous call or anything like that. It's just maybe not what we would expect at this juncture in the game out of these two teams. So now they're going around the corner, I think, here, Tyler, with Felix Messenzeel's second.
Yeah, I don't really mind going under the corner with where it's set up now after that freeze, but yeah, the previous shot, it's not just that you're playing it conservative, it's that you're not playing a gimme with that either. Like, they played the harder shot for a worse result.
So timeout called now for Michael Brunner. After that draw was made very nicely by Felix Messenzeel. We'll listen in.
It depends how much the drag will be. Right now, it's like this. Het is goed, je sexy blijft voor ons. Volgens wie maar am einfachsten da kommen. Kommt schon an, hè? Yeah, right now we have 10 centimeters. 5 centimeters.
Well, no, I was actually...
Would you love to play the heck weight? Would you love to play the heck weight role on the center guard? Ja,
Was willst du?
Für deinen. Anstatt deinem habe ich noch überlegt gehabt mit Hackweight.
Was du gesagt hast, ne?
Chippen.
Was willst du?
So what are the options here, Tyler, that they're talking over? Obviously, Muskatewitz lying 2 here.
I mean, you still have the
one
staggered,
or two.
Yeah, the staggered centers up top are a big problem for Brunner right now because they can't see enough of the red to clear that yellow stone. So if they believe their second count, you could probably play the dig on the rock underneath the corner guard. They don't have a great path to draw. And they're looking at going back 4. Yeah, it's probably close. It's a little outside the draw to the button path. So I think they're fairly comfortable with this line. You've seen it before.
That's a big shot here for Anthony Patu, no question about it. Really have to make sure your shot. Don't want to be too deep either.
You guys aren't the same. I speak truth. Yep. Yep. Yep.
They really like to be shot rock regardless of how deep this is. And this is over curling right now.
I don't want to touch those. Oh, just. And this is starting to look like some trouble here for Michael Brunner.
Well, that rock is behind the tee line, so if Muskatewitz plays a little hit and flop underneath, then the freeze is there. So I think you have to roll away.
12. 12. 12. Ja.
12 ist für eine Länge. Ist es Heck oder?
So the chase here on for Benny Cap.
All right, curling fans are here in the top section. One away. I'm here with Bonner and Charlie. Stand over to the way.
So don't want to roll this a long ways, just has to still be 2. Pretty good. Another half a foot of roll probably would have been ideal, but it's a good spot.
Yeah, is there any chance that Michael Brunner could get underneath here?
Yeah, no, it's definitely there. There's plenty of space.
Yeah.
It's probably rolling the backside of tee, but tough to get to. So a really important shot here. If they can get under. Because if this noses, then Muskatewitz can play the hit and roll underneath, and it'll be above the tee line.
Keller Meyer trying to bring this one over. This is really hanging. Oh, that's unfortunate for Patu. And that might even not be second shot. And if that's the case, that's trouble. Again, I don't know which of the red or the yellow is shot either.
I'm not sure which of those 3 are shot.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough to tell.
Der hier ist besser als der.
Okay, so Mark is saying that he thinks their yellow is out counting that red, but that the top red might be out counting their yellow. So it looks like obviously the yellow stone in the top 4 is shot. Then the red above it is second shot. And then the yellow on the left is third shot, and the red that just rolled is fourth.
Ganz gut. 8. Glaubst du, es geht? Bitte? Glaubst du, es genügend Platz? Ja, es geht schon. Okay. 8.
Ja. Ist die Spur langsamer?
Oh, a little freeze call here?
Yeah, you'll be second shot for sure as long as you're somewhere on the inside. So I like the call here. You're really putting your opponent up against it. Like they're going to have to draw back 4 to get shot. And if you throw this in a perfect spot, John, where it freezes a little bit high. A back four draw, you have the in-off off your own. This is a lot of weight, though.
Yeah, Scheuel trying to bring this over. Just more weight than they wanted from Benny Cap, but they do lie 2.
Yeah, not a bad result. It's a pro side miss. Made sure that you're sitting at least 2. And maybe 3, we're still not sure.
Ja, schade, dass der Rote vorne besser liegt. Elfi. Ja, nee, ist besser als über Köln. Die haben noch kurz Run überlegt, das meinen die dazu? Das sind einfach nur Second.
It's a huge shot here for Michael Brunner. You may not get another chance to hit the escape valve here. A hit and roll would do it, though. Almost has to be had here. First rock, Michael Brunner, 6th end.
Würdest du trotzdem einfach messen oder
Yeah, really need to get the roll now. Nose is not a great result. You give Muskatewitz a chance to roll under and be above the tee if you don't make it. Really
Sweepers
close.
like it. Kellermeyer trying to bring it over. How is that roll?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Still
Stealing our wide angle here. It shows a piece.
Yeah, but you don't leave the hit and roll back.
Yeah, really well executed there from Michael Brunner. Just would have loved a hair more of a roll. But it's, yeah, almost completely buried. You'll get a look at it here in a second.
Yeah, you need to just move this out of the 4-foot. Try to sit second count.
9 bis 10. Sicher, dass der vorne besser wird.
Because again, John, you're playing for 2 here. I mean, 3 would be great, but 2 and you have a very high percentage chance of winning the game. Your opponent's either going to have to get a 3 or a steal at some point in the last 2 ends to win the game.
Ja, 9 bis 10. 9 bis 10. Gerade so schlechter tappen als der hintere Gelbe. Als der vordere Gelbe. Und dann Nase auf dem Liegen bleiben.
Der Fünfer sticken. Dass man das so
Ja.
The biggest thing here is make sure that you're shot after this. Even if the shooter doesn't stay, need to be at least number 1, top 4.
First own for Mark Muskatewitz here in the 6th end. Little chase around some guards.
Really good line.
Yeah, Messenziel trying to bring this over now. Do they have enough to move the red far enough? They do, and does the yellow stop in time?
That one I think is second.
It does, yes. Wow, just moving the red far enough, and the yellow just stopping in time. So Mark Muskatewitz lies 2, and this is an interesting decision here for Michael Brunner, Tyler.
Now they're looking at if that red guard maybe drags too. Could be a fun one here if they elect to play that run.
Yeah. I'm not a drag expert, but it doesn't look like it to me. They're obviously blocking it right now, but it's yeah, you get a good better look at it there. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
That's really close.
Like really, your only other option, Ty, I guess, is the draw, and that's not very much fun. Okay, they are going to throw it though.
Well, nothing's a lot of fun with how this is set up right now.
Oh yeah, you miss this draw, you could give up 3, and that would be
it's
potentially ball game.
It's not really that big a difference though between giving up 2. I mean, obviously you'd rather be down 2 than 3, but again, as we mentioned, you're going to have to get a 3 or a steal in order to win the game if you're down 2. So you can't think of it in terms of, well, we might give up 3 if we play this. It's we have to avoid giving up 2. So the draw is the correct shot, unless you're absolutely positive that drags with those 2 guards, which they're not. It's hard to know. So this is the one shot, you know, if you make it, at least you have a chance of either getting a force or a steal.
So final stone for Michael Brunner, tie game, 6th end. Needs to make a really good draw. This is quite out there. It's like it's curling now, though. Kellermeyer and Gerlach trying to drag it. Now you actually got to get
go.
by. You got to get by now. You got to get by now. They just click it. And unfortunately, just a hair light from Michael Brunner. It over curls. And I do think Mark Muskatewitz will probably have a shot for 3. I mean, it's not easy. But I think it's there, Tyler. It might jam, though.
It's got 3/4 maybe. So, yeah, it's there. The jam would still give you 2. So I think the shooter stays.
Yeah, I mean, it's the shot no matter what. It's just whether or not you can get 3 out of it. That's a good look at it there. Mark is not going to be able to see a ton of that from the hack.
Yeah, the other option would be just peel it and take your 2, but you might touch your own in the back of the 8s. You might straight stick it. So I think this is the shot. You take your chances with the jam. If you get enough of it, you get 3.
So final stone, Mark Muskatewitz, end number 6. Could turn the whole game on its head if he can find a 3 here. Sweepers have been off and on here. It sounds close.
That's got a curl now.
Messenziel trying to bring it in now. Now do you have him be able to move it far enough? Do you move it far enough? No, it will jam, and so it is just 1 for Mark Muskatewitz. Got really close, but just couldn't manage the line. Bullet dodged for Michael Brunner. They will have the hammer in 7.
There's a place where the world's best curling not only lives, it rocks. Download the new Grand Slam of Curling app and live stream all the action. Get exclusive content, stats, merch, and more. Let's rock.
Ja gut, du hast den Double. Aber wenn die am Anfang wischen, wenn das so weit ist, dann kannst du es auch nicht. Ja, ja. Ich weiß, aber deswegen nehme ich den Seitdem. Den ist okay. Ich glaube, wir sind da, Felix. Nur Linie. Nur Länge. Bisschen Linie. Nur wenn ich muss. Okay. Länge ist da. Okay. Gut. Ja.
I mean, if you're playing Curling 101, then it's a 0 or 2. But sometimes you just don't want to go away from your own strengths and what you do best. So they may just go all out for that 2, but you know, they're playing the come around draw, which says they're playing 0 or 2 still. So top 8, relatively open.
Yeah, decent shot there from Gerlach. And just to give you some updates here, Marco Husley getting 1 back in the 6th end in the Sportsnet feature game. So Brad Gujou and Husley are tied up 5-5. That's in the 7th. Gujou with the hammer. Of course, if you're in Canada, that game available on Sportsnet and sportsnet.ca. And the game right in front of us, Ross White pulling 2 back on Yannick Schwaller, but that steal of 2 in the 5th end for Schwaller, the difference right now, they lead 5-3 in the 7th with hammer. So we'll keep you posted as those games go on. As we've said many times this evening, if you're just joining us, the winner of this game will move into, at minimum, a tiebreaker. If Brad Gujou wins, they will move directly into the playoffs. The loser goes home. So everything on the line here tonight for this Switzerland versus Germany battle.
John, I'm going to make a suggestion for that game on Sheet D that we refer to them as Team Mikkel.
Yes.
He doesn't get that at any point. You know, Benoit's throwing the bricks.
Yep.
Yannick's calling the house. Sven took the step down to play second after being a skip at the World Championships.
Yeah.
Let's give him Team Mikkel for the rest of this
All right,
week,
Team Mikkel.
Let's
you got
do it.
Yep.
Sven, if you do watch this back, you're welcome. I don't know why you'd be watching this back unless you're scouting Brunner for Swiss championship purposes.
Yeah, the Swiss European qualifier between Brunner and Schwaller was quite close, 4-2. And you know you made a good shot when the St. John's crowd cheers for a shot you made against Brad Gushue. And that was the case there. Marco Husley making a phenomenal takeout. It was a run double kind of through the wickets, and the crowd begrudgingly applauding. Takes a lot to get this crowd to be happy for you when you're playing against Brad Gushue, but great shot there from Marco Husley. And we are going to see the run back called here for Romano Keller-Meyer, and so blank is definitely on the table here, Tyler.
Yeah,
if this is made.
If they can get both of these right here.
Just
there it
like
is.
that. Lovely shot from RKM.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
RKM.
Yeah. Like RPM, but.
Well, if you're a pro wrestling guy, then it sounds like
The
RKO.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That shot was a bit of an RKO to Muskatewitz.
Out
of nowhere.
Czar over here, Nick Sulsky, would appreciate that reference.
Absolutely. The Viper, Randy Orton.
Isn't Survivor Series tomorrow?
It is in Vancouver.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was. I have some friends going. They were asking if I was going to come back, and I said, "Sorry, boys, I'm in St. John's."
Oh, I would love to go to that. Why don't you stay here and I'll go to Survivor Series?
Well, it's with the War Games too. They've combined both of them into one pay-per-view. The old WCW War Games.
Yeah, we need to cut that off right now, though. That's for about 2% of the listeners, probably. I think there is some crossover with curling fans.
Hey, they're going to blank this end, Tyler. We can talk about whatever the hell we want.
That's fair. That's a good point.
If you blank,
Nick, we're talking pro wrestling over here.
He's not listening. He's on this. They're doing a little couch kind of. No one's sitting on the couch. It's technically the couch stream, but they're all standing, and I think they're betting on. I don't even want to know. Probably
they're poker chips.
I see a lot of the drink tokens at the Grand Slams. If you've never been to a Grand Slam before, the drink tokens are poker chips.
Are those drink tokens for the?
Yeah.
For Operate Curl. Oh,
yeah.
Snag.
Yeah. They're like poker chips, but they have curlers' faces on them, and I know a lot of people end up not even cashing them in for drinks. They just love to have the poker chips with the curling faces on them.
Are they all? We got Rachel. We've got the poker
Walker,
chips. Yes, do
Mark
have
Nichols,
players on.
Brad Gushue.
Where's the Langer chips? That's the high rollers. You don't get those up here.
Yeah, things would have to get pretty desperate for the Grand Slams if they start making commentator chips.
This game's going to turn into the couch game now, too, with the peeling out.
You know, we can talk about it a little bit because I was a little surprised, Tyler. It did seem like Muskatewitz didn't care too much about giving them the blank. They didn't go super aggressively in terms of trying to prevent it from happening.
And usually that says something about what you know about your own team's numbers and being one up without or one down with. Yeah. Usually when you're playing for one thing or the other, it's to your preference. I would say when we were playing in the elite level games, it was 95% what do we want and 5% what does our opponent want.
Yep.
So you're taking that into account. But it has to be something really significant in the numbers for you to play to your opponent's weaknesses or strengths. You always are wanting it to be in your own comfort zone.
Well, and we have seen both these teams comfortable with lots of rocks in play, and so maybe that's also part of what Mark Muskatewitz is thinking, that he's not going to mind if it's a junky or a busy eighth end. As we continue to run out the clock here, neither team in any sort of time crunch. Mark Muskatewitz especially has a ton of time left to play the eighth end and both timeouts. Brunner with well over 6 minutes and one timeout, so the eighth end can be played at just about any pace either team wants to.
Yeah.
Brunner can throw a draw to the wing that at least is an annoyance for Muskatewitz. That's about it. But you make them play inside out, and if you're trying to have your opponent, let's see. I don't know that is there enough house that you can bury even half a stone over here for Muskatewitz?
I don't. Maybe. I mean, you'd almost have to be like straddling the tee line and like also half in, half out of the house. I think is the only way you're getting any sort of bury there.
Yeah, I think you can bury 3/4 and touch the edge of the 12-foot. That's about the best you can do. I don't think there's a spot you could throw it to that Brunner would ever consider playing the freeze. So feel comfortable going out of the corner right now.
Yeah, absolutely. First stone here for Mark Muskatewitz in the 7th end, which has been rocketing by as we are careening towards a blank. This is,
look at this draw,
almost about as good as you could do from Mark Muskatewitz. Very well thrown.
Such a tough shot to get to there.
Yeah. Well, because you just don't throw them, right, Tyler? And even in practice, there's really not any reason for you to be throwing a ton of those draws to the wings. So that's a good look at it there. Michael Brunner will definitely be able to get at this, and we'll be able to see some of it from the hack. Maybe just under half. But yeah, what a shot there from Mark Muskatewitz. Just underrated shot making that is. You know, I think curling fans see that and they go, well, whatever, draws. Curlers make draws all the time. Who cares? But that was, yeah, very, very precise and tough shot from Muskatewitz there.
Yeah, Brunner has maybe a little more than a third. Very close to that. This is a huge shot, though, John. If you're not able to remove this stone, then the force comes into play. You're talking a swing of probably 40%, somewhere in there, of your odds to win the game.
Andreas Gerlach trying to bring this over. It does not have a ton of weight. Do you move it? And yes, you do. What a shot from Michael Brunner and a great sweep from Andreas Gerlach, just leaning on that one all the way.
Yeah, should be safe now.
Yeah, that was certainly a tougher shot than whatever he would have to face here. So that you heard was Brad Gushue giving up a steal of 1 in the 7th to Marco Husley, who after giving up 3 in the first end to Gushue, I thought, Tyler, maybe a little cowed by the moment here, the big crowd, probably nothing like Husley's ever played in front of before, and obviously with the crowd firmly against them, but they have rebounded since then, outscoring Brad 6-2 since the first end, and Brad Gushue will have the hammer down 1 coming home, and of course we'll be keeping a close eye on that game because of the ramifications on our sheet here. So final stone for Mark Muskatewitz, and this is just an open hit, and Michael Brunner will have the blank attempt they've been going after all end. And really this is the situation this game has deserved, Tyler, a 1-point game heading into the 8th.
Yeah, this game has been back and forth even almost the whole way through. A little advantage early from Brunner, but I think it's only right that this game goes to, and we don't want to assume anything on the blanks as we've made sure throughout the week, but I think this game deserves to be 1 down with for somebody in the 8th end, and if Brunner's able to execute the blank, that's what we'll get.
So final stone, Michael Brunner looking for a blank end. And sounds like it's made. And indeed it is. And so the score will remain the same. Mark Muskatewitz will be leading by 1. Michael Brunner will have the hammer in the 8th when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Die Prozentzahl mal noch aufbringen. Ja. Ja, ja, gleich wie jetzt.
Nee, ist gut.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside the Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador for this final draw of the round robin. Michael Brunner against Mark Muskatewitz. Winner moves on to the playoffs. Loser goes home. John Cullen, Tyler George with you. And Tyler, it really just has been a very well-played game from both teams. You can tell both teams fighting for their playoff lives out here. And we'll see. This is the classic scenario that we talk about in curling. One up without, one down with. We'll see if Brunner can put two on the board and get a W. And I think with how much both these teams like having rocks in play, this is going to get a little twisted, Tyler.
I'm going to make a prediction right now that Brunner's playing something really fun for the win.
Oh, I would love it.
Hopefully nothing with an open hit or anything like that, but yeah, this should be good stuff here. And this is as close to a tied game as you can get in our sport, John. Percentages say, over the long run, it's somewhere around 58-42. Team with the lead is the favorite, but it all varies based on teams' own records in these situations.
Yeah, and as we said, it was maybe a situation that Team Muskatewitz comfortable with, right? Because they did seem to be accepting of the blank in the seventh end in a way that we maybe would not see other teams do. So
yeah, I think both teams showed their hand in the sixth and the seventh, with Muskatewitz playing the peel in that sixth end situation where it looked like they had total control of the end. They end up getting forced, and then same thing playing it open in seven. So top 8 underneath guard, not a bad position.
And where have we seen this setup before, Tyler? Center guard up and behind, corner guard up and behind.
Now, this is how you would expect the end to start with score right now.
Well, and just with how consistent both leads have been. Johannes Scheuerle for Mark Muskatewitz and Andreas Gerlach for Michael Brunner.
4. Was hältst du von einer 4? Sobald schießt, wird dann hier drauflegen. In Linie von dem Gelben.
Good time to have a chat about this. Still over 7 minutes remaining and both timeouts for Muskatewitz.
Yeah, we could be here all night.
This could be a 20-25 minute end very easily. As well it should be. That's what you get with banking the time, but we'll let those of you that can understand what's going on listen in.
Okay, so they do call their first time out of the game. Does Team Muskatewitz?
Weißt du, wenn nur Backline-Länge hat. Ja, ich bin, er kann halt immer so spielen. Ja. Ja, aber nicht schnell. Ja. Da ist einer. Okay. One thought was top 4. Yeah. Okay. Backline. Yeah. No. I'm just thinking we have
at some point the run where we roll to center. But it's okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, like name die Mitte, yeah. Yeah.
So looks like they're going to put a second center guard on this one here, Tyler. Do you like that, given where their Yellowstone is in the top 8?
Well, there's not a lot of scoring space behind the center guards if you throw that. Yeah, you're really forcing the action to the center of the sheet by doing that. My first thought was, no, don't like it. Go around, but
yeah,
thinking more about it, again, because the scoring space is so small, you're forcing your opponent into probably peeling on this next shot. I don't think they're drawing around, so you're shortening.
Too early for sure.
You're shortening the end by playing this, so I think I like the call.
Yep. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think in Muskatewitz's case, shortening the end does make sense. It's exactly where they wanted that one from Felix Messenziel.
Yeah, good angles. Well, I like the call.
It looks like Brunner's maybe trying to see if there's any kind of double or triple run here, but
yeah, your thought would be, why are we double guarding a rock in the top of the 8-foot? But with where that corner guard is for Brunner, it kind of cuts off the draw path a little bit. And anything that gets shot for Brunner probably have a pretty good chance of digging it out if it's above the tee. And if it's behind, obviously you can play the freeze. So I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, if you make it, it's definitely a tough call. Romano Keller-Meyer gets that double corner and does get rid of the yellow. So good result, I think. But you're right, Tyler. It's going to leave a lot of guards up top here, which you would think favors Muskatewitz.
Yeah, that draw path is not good for Brunner right now. So it's a pretty good shot to get rid of the tight one, but pretty easy again for Muskatewitz to replace.
Bisschen Benny. Den ist gut. Okay. Curl. Alles curl. Oh, easy. Yep, curl.
The way the end is mapping out, you're already looking at that angle run for Brunner.
Absolutely. So guard made again for
That's my prediction.
Felix Messenziel. You did say that you thought a fun one for Brunner on the last one. I mean, I would love it. We had a fun one earlier this week with Bruce Mowat and John Schuster. John making a 10-beller in-off for the win. I would love to see another one here from Michael Brunner.
Close. Whoa. Andy.
So kind of the same call again here, I think, for Keller-Meyer, just trying to chip this guard and maybe roll into the rings. They don't move it much, though. And
that's disaster.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Romano Keller-Meyer. He's had such a good game. But, yeah, that one just does not curl enough. I think it had the right weight, Tyler. I don't think he overthrew it necessarily, but just did not curl. And, yeah, as you said, that draw starting to look a little bit scary for Michael Brunner, and especially given the fact that Mark Muskatewitz might be able to beat them in the house now. Make their shot stone even more impressive.
So now the question is, are the guards good enough we don't need to throw another one? I think they can play the intern and dig that out and roll. But it'd be really good to get a second counter so that that angle run isn't for 2 for the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny Moe always manages to be the coolest guy in the room no matter what he's doing. He's just hanging back. He's still the coolest guy in the room over there.
I think he's hanging in the cut, as we used to say.
So throwing a third guard.
Yeah, a little surprised they didn't bring this one into the rings, Tyler. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't really like this one. Because I don't think you're changing what your opponent would have to play for the win.
No.
They're always
and you're
looking
not
at that
changing the
angle
draw
run.
path either if
Right.
you needed to draw for one. I agree with you.
And now they have a chance to maybe move both of these.
Bisschen besser.
Gut runtergekommen.
Yeah, you could get all these guards moving. You can only roll the shooter a little ways, and the draw path's going to get even more interesting if they make this. But yeah, I think I would have preferred another rock in the house in that situation.
Yeah, we'll see how many of these Anthony Patou can get moving. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, look at
and
this.
gets the one in the house. Oh my goodness, does he move it far enough to be
Oh,
shot?
what a
shot from Anthony Patou.
That's
Holy
unreal.
smokes.
That might be the shot of the week right there.
My goodness, gets all 3 yellow guards moving, and they move far enough to leave their red rock as shot.
That's the other reason why the guard in that spot isn't a great shot, is you're just letting them continually take a run at clearing things up. It'd be really nice to have another one in the house right now for count.
Yeah, that's just tremendous shot making.
Unreal shot.
Making me look like a genius, too, because I did say before the game how good Patou was earlier this week, or last night, actually, when we called their game against Schwaller. And he's been phenomenal again here tonight.
Interesting thing, though, John, is that the draw paths are still really strange here.
Totally.
With where those corner guards are at.
Aktuell liegt er halt noch wie eine Guard für den hier. Auf der anderen Seite hat er natürlich auch den Schuss für 2. Wenn man so spielt, ist er natürlich schon gut. Aber es ist halt riskant, wenn wir zu voll haben. Ha? Ja. Ja, weil wenn wir hier hindrohen, bringt es auch wenig. Und ich glaube, er wird es dann ignorieren. Ja, genau. Oder er droht dann direkt rum, wenn wir einen Double spielen. Ja. 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 Ja, ist gut. 11.
So yeah, maybe the only thing here is that Red Rock is open, not easy. Benny Cap is going to have to cross the face of it and push it back out the other side. But if he can, you get a look at the port there. That is not super forgiving. You don't often throw these the kind of outside in through this type of port and across the face. But you'd lie 3 if you make it.
You don't really have a choice either because there's nowhere to draw to. So he needs to catch thick half on the inside and roll underneath the semi-corner guard. Look at this shot.
Oh, that is too good.
Oh, is that any good?
That is too good.
Heavyweight battle
teams.
right now.
Yeah, that is phenomenal from Benny Cap. I mean, again, one of those shots that I think to the casual curling fan doesn't appear as difficult as it is.
Oh, that's really tough.
To get through that port and cross the face, not jam. Really, really good. And now Mark Muskatewitz lies 3.
Oh, this is fun stuff right now. These teams just going toe-to-toe.
Es gibt so 6-mal ein Zeichen für Ernst. Also ich weiß, dass gerade bleibt. Ja, I like that. Ja. Ja, sicher. Die hätte so was. Ja.
They pretty much have to play the run to have any chance to set up the 2. There isn't a spot to draw to again, for either team. That's why we keep referring to the draw paths, because it's not just for Brunner. It's both teams. There isn't a spot that you could throw a draw, try to set up a steal or a force or a 2.
So Anthony Patou trying a nose run back here to stick for shot. And how about that?
Is it shot rock?
I don't know. Yeah, just over curled a hair on them. Really good try, though. It is going to be open. Similar shot to Benny Cap's. This one's actually maybe a little less difficult. You can see a little more of the red, but again, you can see from that angle, Tyler, still not easy by any means.
Yeah, they're playing, I think, similar shot to what we just saw, trying to cross and roll under the guard again.
Yeah, no question. That's what they're after. does help that they already saw Benny's in this spot.
Muskatewitz collecting himself after the roar from Gushu make. Sit to that game right down to the wire now. We have 3 games on skip stones in the 8th end at the same time, all still competitive.
Yeah, and with a full house too. This is as good as curling gets here, that's for sure.
This is really close again.
Just lovely from Mark Muskatewitz.
And it's still 3/4 open in the center. The overroll just a touch.
Yeah.
So Michael Brunner will use their second and final timeout here. Philip Husley for his team, his final stone, trying to make a double to force an extra against Brad Gushu.
Dead nut. What a shot. We're just assuming you have multiple games up on your screens at home here too.
Yeah, really good shot there from Philip Husley. And you talk to any curler, and a lot of them have a great respect for Philip's shot-making ability. You heard that from a few top skips now over the course of these last few slams, and made a really great double there. So it looks like that game is heading to an extra. Brad Gushu will have to draw the full 8-foot.
I think they had a stat up on the screen a little earlier for the Sportsnet feed. Our friends with Sportsnet,
of course,
that's had Brad Gushu with the highest winning percentage for tour events this season. I don't know which tour events, but Husley was second to Brad in something, whatever it was. We only caught a glimpse, but they had a list, and Brad was at the top, and Husley was second. So
good company.
Whatever it is, yeah. You're in good company.
So Michael Brunner, I think Tyler's going to draw around everything here, and I like it. Why not?
Yeah, you're going all out for your 2 regardless, so it's all about where's the best spot to try to find that deuce. And I think back 4 here, make your opponent have to follow, or even edge a button, but I think you're playing to overbury this to the back of the 4-foot, because there's that short tap on the yellow stone for Muskatewitz.
So similar to Mark, Michael just takes an extra second in the hack, and that's one benefit also of leaving yourself some extra time, is you can kind of stick handle around the pro Gushu audience. So here we go. Michael Brunner, first shot in the 8th, trying to set up a 2 here. Needs to draw around a couple guards, one inside the house and one outside, as Keller Meyer is leaning on this one. They're trying to get it by this yellow.
It's got to go for weight and for line.
Did they pull the string here? Yes, unfortunately they did. Michael Brunner just coming up a hair light. I do think it got second shot, though, Tyler. Tough to tell.
It is important if it did, because that yellow stone is still 3/4 open for number 1 count.
So timeout called for Mark Muskatewitz here.
I don't think it changes much about what you're throwing.
We do have another final out here as well. Yannick Schwaller, or sorry,
Sven Mikkel.
Sven Mikkel. Defeating Ross White 5-3. So Mikkel will end the week at 1-3. Ross White 3-1 and into the playoffs tomorrow.
Good job by Team Sven Mikkel.
Absolutely.
So we get here, and we're pretty good. I think the worst case is somewhere here, where we line up this 3. Aber dann ist er nicht für den Stil. Ja, fährt dann das so rum rein, oder?
Hat der einen Triple, wenn wir ihn hier?
Eventuell. Also der Beste, wenn man hinlegen könnte, wäre hier. In Linie von dem hier. Hier hin. Und falls er kurz sein sollte, ist die Option, ihn einfach hier den Weg zuzumachen. Dann hat er schon genug zu tun.
Mit Outurn kommen wir nicht
Ja,
so
das
lange.
will auch. Je nachdem,
Ein Spinner
wenn er
vielleicht.
Runde lang aber nehmen. Erst. Als Deal. Ja, also zum 4 von seinen kann schon. Goalie wird knapp. Also nach der Guard einfach rum.
So it looks like they're going to maybe play the same draw here, Tyler.
Ja, okay.
They know the path.
Ja.
They know it's not frosty here with the hits that they played through that port. Should run pure.
Was war seiner?
So yeah, I like the call.
Also das ist auf jeden Fall.
Yeah, you just saw Brunner throw it, and he did maybe underthrow it a little bit. We know those rocks have, do curl. If you don't get it out there and you don't get that weight going, it'll look similar to the Michael Brunner stone. And as we said, if you over curl, you might even poke that red one in where it's for sure a second shot, and that could change the scope of what is possible for Michael Brunner. But in any case, final stone for Mark Muskatewitz, trying to make a draw that might put this game on ice.
And that high corner guard from the beginning of the end is a big problem right now for Brunner. That is right on the draw path that they need going the other way.
Oh, baby. How about that?
That's really good.
Tremendously managed by Scheurl and Messenzel. That is right into the forefoot. And, geez, if you're Michael Brunner, what do you even have here? That is a good look at that there. That is pretty much dead and gone. The chase on that would be extremely difficult.
I think you have the slash in with the red in the top of the 12-foot. Don't see much for 2.
Yeah, certainly not much for 2. I think you're resetting and just trying to decide if you can score 1 here.
Well, you definitely can. You always have the red in the top of the 12 that you can play in. So whatever they're looking at, they're trying to figure out if there's anything for 2, which I don't see.
Das Dachwinkel, das Regenbleiben ist schon sehr groß. Also das Dach für eine. Ja, genau, ja. Nein, aber nicht der Ich meine der 6. Ich bin nur 6 da drüber. Also ich sehe, das Gefühl, da ist der. Also die größte.
They might be eyeballing the quad, but
oh baby,
I don't think it's there.
If he makes that, I'm jumping out of the booth. Into the crowd. I'm crowd surfing.
From here?
Yep.
That could be a problem. That's a big drop.
Oh, yeah.
Good way to go out, though, I guess, John. Yeah, they're playing it. All right.
This is crazy. So
Well,
is because this is not only a quad, Tyler, but it's a run back quad. Right? Or is he trying? Can he get by the guard? Okay,
no,
he
they're
can get
just,
by the guard. Yeah.
They're
Okay.
playing to fire it by the guard.
Oh man, is it there? I'm not sure. I guess they just figure they may lose in the extra end anyway. So we'll see. Not a ton of time on the clock either. Sorry.
I'm not sure if they can hit this thick enough just to play the triple and stick. We're gonna find out though.
So final stone for Michael Brunner. This would be a Swiss miracle if he makes it. Oh my goodness.
Great
Got
try.
3. Great try, but does jam that yellow. And so Mark Muskatewitz will steal 1 and will find his way into, at minimum, a tiebreaker tomorrow. So the European champions, their first slam, they make it out of the round robin. We'll have to wait to see what happens in the Guju-Husli game to see if they will be in the quarterfinals. But what a well-played game. Just a pleasure to call. Hope you enjoyed it at home, too. For everyone here at Home Team Network and for Tyler George, I've been John Cullen. Thanks for joining us. Good night.